Alright, hello, it's been a while. So anyone who is in my community Discord,
Links in the description below.
will know that we recently hosted a big contest in there, entirely themed around 4 different sci-fi factions. Now I created a few of the models for that, which you will be seeing in this video, and you are also currently seeing the other example models that were created by a few hand-picked modeliers. So here it is. Created and written by the one and only Cheese, the point of this contest was for community members to choose one of these 4 factions: humans, evil mutant insectoids, robots, or ancient aliens, and then make a model for that team. This video will also feature the models of those winners, as well as a couple builds from myself related to this theme. Links to all of these things, everything will be included in the description below, along with a link to my Patreon and the Discord server. Now, enjoy the video. Alright, starting us off simple, we will create a basic foot soldier for the human faction. Now, obviously, this is the least weird faction here because, look, whenever you do sci-fi, everybody is going to want some kind of human empire thrown into the mix, right? It is a staple, and it's a staple for a reason. But seeing as it's been years since I did anything that wasn't fantasy on this channel, I might still be incredibly rusty with anything like this, and honestly, you can kind of see how I start off here using techniques I'm very familiar with for creating medieval outfits, but it's very out of place for like a sci-fi foot soldier, so I end up having to scrap and redo a lot of it. Anyway, we will see. Wish me luck. Coloring this model was also surprisingly difficult. Like, I have a huge custom library of colors, but to be frank, almost all of them are designed for medieval characters as well. Even the basic metal colors I have all feel like they are made for like fantasy armor, not modern soldier gear, right? And with all of these things in mind, it was honestly a much more difficult model to make than I had expected. But that really goes to show that I need to get more used to diversifying what I create, I guess. Anyway, yeah, moving on. So this here is the winner of the human faction, and I know what you're thinking. This kind of looks more like a robot than a human, doesn't it? And that is because it's a giant mech suit, and this was created by Frosty Soldier, and suffice to say, it is kinda crazy, right? Yeah, it's like, okay, let's just do this right away. Let's remove the posing, oh god, on both the main and the main model, and oh, it's a dog. Nice. Okay, now let's cancel all of that. Get the model back to what it is. Yeah, so suffice to say, this is awesome, right? Like, this is some proper, like, anime combat mech thing. You have a lot of cheap little kit bashing slots, like these shoulders are now only take up 1%. You have, I think the really impressive part is, you know, like the attention to detail. I'm not even thinking about like the human heraldry with like the texts and the little markings and stuff like that, but rather just like the pistons, the machinery. It kind of looks like, I mean, this looks more coherent and more thought through in its design with the wires and everything everywhere. Like, look here in the middle, than the actual like Decepticons did in those garbage Michael May movies, right? Like, so yeah, I imagine the actual size. The only thing I would say that could be added is it would be nice if there was like something to compare the size to, so that we knew how big it was meant to be. I'm guessing by this flag that like the actual person piloting this mech is probably in here somewhere, so it's meant to be gigantic, you know. But anyway, fantastic model. Well done, Frosty. Well earned win, I think. Okay, now it's time for the evil robot faction, the Directive as Cheese called it. The models for this group were honestly some of the coolest, I think, and the concept here is basically that of like a dystopian evil AI creating an army of different kinds of death robots. The color theme that Cheese wanted for these was mostly black and grey with yellow highlights for the actual robot lows. But besides that, it's very flexible, we can kind of do whatever. In my case, I decided to make something quite small for this, which is this little janitor class murder bot, and consists almost entirely of individual kit bashing parts all thrown together. You will see. Unfortunately, here at the end I lost a big chunk of footage where I was actually coloring this model in, but alas, you could kind of see where it was going anyway. Now, let's move on to the actual Directive winner model. And this here is the winning Directive model by Icabus, and the irony here is that this actually looks more humanoid than the winning human model did, right? You could kind of swap them around, but if you actually look at this, you can tell where the evil robotiness is coming from. Now, my only criticism that I will say right away is, I mean, look, it is creative to have three models, like this is an extra model, this is the main model, and then you have this cloak that's just pretending from a certain point of view to look like a third character, right? Like if you look at it from this direction. And this works if you're in the booth. Looks great here. It does not look so great here when the models are floating, but you know, that's... look, this is subjective, right? But I like when the model is an actual model on the base. That's my preference. I think that the more you rely on these booth things, the less it matters. But in any case, I will say, I think the actual design here is very cool. I mean, this is like Terminator, but turned up to 100, right? Like all the little machinery, and I think this is actually like a back item that's being used as like the stomach wires or pipes or whatever you'd call it, and then obviously these three eyes is done by having this little extra goggle. So yeah, very Terminator inspired, very cool. I dig it. I'm so confused that we got like a robot for the human and then humans for the robots. But you know, listen, there's democracy, okay? This is what the people voted for. Either way, I think it's a banger model. Well done, well earned. Good job, Icabus. Then we have the Hive. This is the really evil, disgusting body horror faction, right? Cheese designed this faction to be very flexible, so people entering the contest could make, you know, anything from insectoids to tentacle monsters to infested human zombies, etc. And I decided to do just that. I wanted to create a mirror of the earlier human soldier that I made, but you know, an infested version of it instead. The idea here is to completely wrap this poor guy up in like disgusting tendrils and tentacles, and since his body is basically just being used as a host for the parasite, he will basically be dead himself. It'll be great, I promise. There we go. Our infected host soldier is done. Now let's see what the actual winner Hive model was. So this is the winning Hive model by Low Fantasy, and I just gotta say, I love this one. I think this is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously it's kind of designed as, it's not really a typical Hero Forge model, and it is designed for this like booth perspective where you see it like this, yeah. But it is creative. I like this. I dig this. I think this is cool. I like the little skyscrapers for like, it's being used to like convey the size of this thing now. I mean, on this base, I'm so used to seeing, you know, I compare it to the base because I'm an old Hero Forge nerd, so I know that this is not a very big bug, but like, it is cool. It is kind of cute actually. It is adorable. This little bug, or I guess gigantic bug, is like breathing fire and destroying a city, which is awesome. Very creative model. I dig it. I'm just gonna quickly tear it apart and see what happens. Yeah, okay, it doesn't look so big anymore. Yeah, but yeah, no, also model. Well earned win, low fantasy, although I would say this is not very low fantasy myself, but you know, good on you for stepping out of your usual niche. Finally, we have the Ancient faction. Now, this one was definitely intended to be the hardest one, I think, since it was sort of very niche. The idea was to create a very futuristic, flashy, and glowy kind of alien faction. But for the purpose of creating at least one example model that was easy to digest and replicate, I made something very, very simple here. Basically just a little sci-fi like scout drone. That's it. Listen, not every model has to be General Grievous, you know? Anyway, okay, let's see the winner Ancient. Finally, we have the Reality Weaver, which is the winning model by Mr. Frost, not to be confused with Frosty Soldier, who won the Dominion model. Now, obviously this is meant to be seen from the booth, but I'm not going to be that nice, just like I was with the winning robot model. I feel a model should be able to stand on its own even outside of the booth, and I mean, okay, I'm not gonna be too mean. This model is awesome. I think it's very creative with all the lightning things, and I think obviously what they're going for here is pretty damn cool. And I never said anywhere in the rules that like the models are not supposed to rely on the booth or whatever, so it's not like I can complain. But again, I will say, I think it looks a bit weird outside of the booth. But yes, yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you stretch a trillion different kit bashing things all over the place. Anyway, give me a sec. Alright, so let's actually take away all the posing. Yeah, there you have the Hero Forge Hank pose, classic. Oh, okay, so all of those little lightning bolts are actually hands with their fingers being stretched down. That is a creative way of doing it. I was wondering how you got all these lasers actually, so, you know, credit where credit is due. If I just remove all the kit bashing, you have, you know, not a lot left, I'll be honest. But this is, yeah, I mean, listen, very creative model, very cool tricks. I don't even want to know how long it took you to pose all of these little fingers. I could not tell that these things were hands before, but now I know. I love the concept. I just think it might be a little bit over-reliant on the booth. That's all I'll say. But yes, well done. Congratulations, Mr. Frost. Well done. Now moving on. And there we go. I hope that you enjoyed finally getting to see some sci-fi on this channel. It only took Cheese holding me at gunpoint for it to happen. Now, for what remains of this video, you will be seeing the other runner-up winners. And as always, you know, a big thank you to everyone who participated in this, be it as modeliers or just the people casting their votes in, and of course the people who helped me create the actual, like, faction sheet to begin with. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you want to see me do next, and as always, a big special thanks to my Patreon subscribers. Stout Dross, Nicholas A. Paul, Ken Hayes, Ghosted GM, Deus Mercurius Magna, Trinor3, Hidden Squid, Dread97, Mike Horst, Narlon, Gesteig Panzer, Bob Bobbinson, Vin Penny, Helios, Connor Slayman, and Pseudo Samurai. With all of that said, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.